2 years ago, you did the same thing. We had to wait till 10 o'clock for the gates to be open, and it's all happening again right here at the expo site called Caboolture Historical Village. High five, kids. Oh, good on you, kids. And the girls said they'll meet you at the bar later.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you.
You can pronounce my name wrong.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try again. How many of you actually went to World Expo 88? Wow, fantastic. One of the things that Peter Racy, who is here behind the camera, and is very involved in keeping the legacy of Expo 88 alive, and today is one of those things. Peter asked me to talk a little bit about legacy as it applies to Expo, but also as it applies to other events. Jason.
Everyone, Peter Racy here, Foundation Expo 88 YouTube channel, and on this very exciting day, 26th of January 2020, when we've unveiled Safe in Captain Bligh up here at Caboolture Historical Village, we're moving on to a formal interview with Ric Birch here in the boardroom, this beautiful boardroom at the Caboolture Historical Village, and we are going to be talking about the yellow submarine, pink submarine.
Pink submarine.
That's right. Which was one of the opening night features, and on the way up, during the chit-chat in the car, it actually featured. Now I'm going to try and edit in some of the photographs into this YouTube. It was a stunning concept. And Rick, if you can just retell the story again about the how that came about. I mean, I just love that story.
The birth of the submarine. Yeah, well, in fact, I arrived in Australia in 1985 in January for a press conference in Brisbane, which was to announce my appointment as Director of Entertainment. And due to my wife's I'll start again. Due to my wife's inability to be on time, we missed the aeroplane to Brisbane, and we're an hour and a half late for the press conference. So of course the journalists were getting a bit teed off, and we're in no mood to listen to jokes or excuses or anything else. And in the end, one of them said, "So, Mr. Birch, what are you going to do in the opening ceremony?" And I don't know if he thought I'd planned it all out 3 years in advance, but anyway, I was a bit stuck, and I was looking out the window from the expo centre where we were, and I could see the Brisbane River, which was brown and didn't look particularly romantic. But I suddenly out of nowhere said, "I see pink submarines," and that was it. So the newspapers led with the fact that there'd be pink submarines at the opening ceremony, whereas I'd forgotten all about it until about 6 months before the opening. I got a call from a very good friend in Melbourne who said, "What are you doing about the submarines, Rick?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "That's a pity because I think I could do it for you." So he flew up to Brisbane. His name was Bert Cooper, and Bert met with the local tech college, and between them they came up with a fabulous pink submarine which had perspex decks. We had 24 tap dancers on deck in pink costumes. The sub was painted very bright pink with polka dots all over it. We had a Navy crew on board, and it was really just a barge with a superstructure on top, but it looked absolutely fantastic on the Brisbane River. And although originally we'd only planned for it at the opening ceremony, it turned out to be such a hit that we sailed it up and down the expo site twice a night for a week, at the end of which Bert reported that the barge was starting to take on water and the infrastructure was starting to break apart a bit. So it was decided to take it in for renovation at the dockyard. As it happened, there was a big shipyard crane on the banks of the river that could have lifted the barge out. But the shipyard guys said they knew how to lift submarines, and they put a rope around either end of it. And Bert was running at them saying, "Don't do that, don't do that, it's not a real submarine." But it was too late, and they picked up the submarine by the ends, and the submarine just broke in half. And that was the end of our pink submarine. But Up until then, it had been a huge hit at Expo.
And what I love about the story, and I'll edit and put some of these in, your creative genius can be seen by comparing your sketches, which you gave me some photographs of, to the final product. And they are just like a mirror image, but one's obviously hand-drawn, obviously by yourself, I assume, and coloured, and then the real thing, and you just see the vision versus the reality, and it's just such a close match.
Well, it's meant to be. The idea is to communicate in those days with drawings. Nowadays it's much easier with computers. But yeah, back in the day we used to have artists to draw sketches of what we had in mind, and that's what everyone worked off.
And the next part of the discussion, and we'll just stop here for a second for this particular YouTube, and we'll be back in a minute.
And everything else, and then we're in need of a very good holiday afterwards. Is that the story, Rick?